What an astronomical revolution. Bitcoin is immune from attack.
All right, welcome back to the Crypto Show's Digital Cash Evolution right here on the Bloomberg Network. And today we have another great guest, Jeffrey Tucker.
Well, Jeffrey, I met you actually at Anarchapulco. I will tell you, at Anarchapulco 2018 was the first time that I actually saw you. I heard you were involved in the space. I know you've written books on economy. You're continuously writing articles on the space. Maybe you want to introduce yourself to our audience.
Sure.
And go from there.
Sure. So, I'm the editorial director of the American Institute for Economic Research, and I write a regular column at Forbes now on crypto technology. I'm one of, 6 or 8 writers that Forbes has tagged to write on crypto, which is kind of cool if you think about it, that Forbes sees, what's awesome about crypto enough to tag.
And we thought you were unique. We've already talked to somebody from Forbes this week.
All right.
Yeah.
No, but it's a good thing that. Yeah, look, I've been involved with the crypto space for actively, and you know what I mean by actively, for 5 years, and I've been more or less curious for 7 or 8 years. And so, to have a regular stream of writers writing about the topic at Forbes for me is awesome, because it shows there's enough public interest and there's enough visionary editors and intellectuals out there that understand that something is fundamentally changing, and that this technology is serious and substantial, and we all know that, but when new technologies come along in civilization, there's usually, a period in which people really doubt their merit. I mean, that, we don't know this, but I mean, that happened to railroads, that happened to the telegraph.
Right. Absolutely.
That happened to internal combustion steel, for 15 years, when steel companies were attempting to commercialize their product, people were putting it down. Oh, it's too weak. You can bend the stuff. It's not as durable and wonderful as iron, and so on and so on. And even email was not obviously useful when it came along. So, so for crypto to be now, I guess we're going up to the 10th anniversary of the white paper, right? Which I hope we all plan celebrations for that. I feel like we've made a lot of progress really quickly, actually.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think that, one of the things that I see as the next major evolution in this space that I think the rest of the cryptocurrency community is starting to pick up on here in 2018 is this idea of governance, the idea of being able to make decisions. And, I think originally a lot of people assumed that because of the way the white paper was written, that if something needed to change about Bitcoin, that it would happen. Like, there's enough decentralization, somebody's going to be able to communicate, contribute to it and make the change that's necessary. But we've discovered this year through the forks and the contentions that isn't necessarily how it played out, right?
It is what's absolutely, and I have to credit my intuitions. We're all self-congratulatory no matter who we are. But in this case, I have to actually credit my own intuitions. In 2014, I remember thinking, I went to the first stage of, oh my God, this is amazing, it actually works. I can't even believe this, But it turns out a lot of people in the Bitcoin world were of the same mind. They were like, I think we've got something here. This is amazing. But then what happens to a community that feels like that their incredulity turns to belief is that they become conservatives. There's a sense that don't change anything, because we do, we could inadvertently destroy everything, and nobody wants to take responsibility for that. And I remember writing in 2014 that what could actually harm Bitcoin is risk aversion, actually. And that, here we have this awesome innovation, but it surely can't stop there. But I saw it developing, and then you fast forward 3 years, and suddenly, we're all faced with the consequences of this unwillingness to, or this caution to develop the core protocol.
Right.
So it shouldn't surprise us at all to see things, decentralized even in the crypto space, and I welcome that in many ways. I'm not one of these people that sits around going, oh, poor Bitcoin, look what happened. It's like, look, if you don't like it, build something new. And so I've been really excited to see what's happened. I mean, nobody imagined 5 years ago the ICO market, for example. I mean, there's many aspects of today's crypto world that is a shock. And I have to say, from my perspective, Anarchapulco was really an exciting event, and going to the Dash to the Dash panel, because I got an education in the specifics of the governance protocols, which is something I had studiously avoided learning about.
Oh, shame on you! One of the most innovative pieces in the space, and
you can't learn anything. I'm amazed that I understand it enough, to even explain it competently, more or less, kind of, sort of. So
right.
The governance structure. Although in the future, I think this is going to be extremely important. And here's why I'm grabbing now a bottle of gin. I don't normally drink straight gin, but I'm going to because it's Sunday afternoon. But what do we mean when we say peer to peer? It's we usually talk about this in terms of the elimination of financial intermediaries that we're used to. Banks, credit card companies, that sort of thing. But there are lots of different kinds of intermediaries in our life.
Oh yeah, they're all over the place.
They're everywhere. The institutions that show up and go, you and Bob can't really do your thing together unless you have us.
Well,
and
I think one of the scariest things about that in particular is while you and I might recognize the value of disintermediation by using the cryptocurrency, I think the big guys are starting to recognize that they can pretend to be peer-to-peer, and they can fool people into thinking that they're peer-to-peer, and because like with a thing like Venmo, people don't realize that there's a central party involved, right? But it feels like peer-to-peer from an end user perspective.
I was about to give the example of Venmo, and I don't know why Venmo in particular has been able to psychologically replicate that sense of peer-to-peer, but I get you. I think you're right. Not one in 10,000 users of Venmo knows it's any different from Bitcoin, or vice versa.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's the thing.